Good evening and welcome back to Go classes. And this is the second class for collocation. Yesterday, I clearly explained to everybody that collocation is nothing but an extension of rectifying your mistakes whenever you are trying to speak English. Or you can say it is the natural way of communicating yourself. Whenever you want to speak English naturally, then it is the best way. Like, you have to use the various collocation or collocation tools. Okay. And yesterday, I believe I have already given you the part one. Like I explained you how collocation is very vital as far as your communication skill is concerned, whether it's written communication or spoken English. So both things you required. So let me tell you a little bit in Odia. Like upon mane, whether it is written communication or spoken English, so in both the cases, you need to use or you have to use something called collocation. Okay. So collocation is pretty important. Our collocation को जब अपन छाड़ी दो उछंती but trying to ignore it. I'm not sure like you can speak English naturally. And here what exactly you have to do? You have to speak English naturally. Okay. Let me bring something called a screen before you. Everybody, just have a look on the screen. It's very vital for you. Just check it out. This is something called, I call the four-dimensional figure of spoken English. This is something called learning English at Ego, the skill provider. Just check it out. This is called the four-dimensional approach. Okay. The first one is called error-free English. The second thing is called, I'm going to teach you how exactly you can speak English confidently. And the third one is called fluently. And the fourth one, that's very important. English at ego is very naturally. How exactly you can speak English naturally? Natural English paying. Look at the things. I have mentioned something called idioms, something called binomials, something called expression, something called collocation, and something called phrasal verbs. These five things are required if you want to speak English naturally. ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହିଥିଲି natural English ମାନେ the way the people of America and the people of England speak English because that is the mother tongue, right? It is our mother tongue. This is not a mother tongue. This is we are learning as the official language, or you can say the second language. So, but we have to learn it as a natural because you have to learn how exactly you can speak English naturally. That's very important. Okay. So to speak English naturally, you have to learn five things. One is called idioms. The second one is called binomials. The third one is called expressions. The fourth one is called collocation. And the fifth one is called phrasal verbs. Right? So today our part is something called collocation. Right? So before I believe yesterday I have given this sheet to you. Those who have not attended the session, like Kiran, my mom, and other things, other members of my team, they can have a look on it. Like collocation is make, I have already given you. Like make, you have to take these things, right? So today, let's try to learn something else. Okay. So up to these things we have already learned. Right now, I want to give you something else. Okay. Let me write few sentences for you in the board itself. Please follow me in the board. Okay. Suppose I'm going to write few sentences. I am. I request everybody to mute it, please. Okay. I am in, or you can say, I am facing a big problem. I am facing a big problem. This is the first sentence. Okay. This is my first sentence. Check out the second sentence. I'm in deep trouble. I'm in deep trouble. This is my second sentence. Okay. The third thing I would like to inform you something called I am utterly disappointed. I'm utterly disappointed. right? I'm utterly disappointed. The fourth one I'd like to inform you something called, right? He's terribly upset. Upset, or you can say angry. The fifth one, okay. The fifth one, he is, you can say he is highly successful. He is highly successful. Let me give you the sixth one. Like, he is hugely popular. So just check it out. Everybody, please. Look at the sentences. Here, I'm facing big problem. Big problem. I'm in deep trouble. I'm utterly disappointed. I am terribly upset. He is highly successful. He is hugely popular. So look at the things. Like, this is the first letter. I mean, this is the first word, and this is the second word. First word, second word. Oh, this is called a natural combination. And most of the time, we say very, 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 and very. So that is not natural English. What you can say is say, I am very disappointed. I am very upset, or he is very upset or angry. He is very successful. He is very popular. So look at the things. We Indian use a lot of things like this. Very, 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 very. So that is not the actual English. That is not the natural English. Look at the things. ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମୁଁ କାଲି ବି କହିଥିଲି. So what do you mean by collocation? Collocation is nothing but the natural combination of two different words in a sentence. So look at the thing. It's a big problem. The problem is big. Big problem. I mean, deep trouble, not big trouble, deep trouble. I am utterly disappointed. I'm utterly disappointed. He is terribly upset. He is highly successful, but he is hugely popular. So they come to like, what is the word? This is called something called collocation. And this is called the natural collocation. Like, it is the natural way you can speak English in most of the time. The problem is that we don't know how exactly we want to speak English. Most of the time, we are using the way we are trying to do follow the translation process. You know very well, right? We follow a lot of translation process. And the translation process is something called pretty bad. 1 minute, please. Right. So what exactly I want to tell you, this is something called collocation. Big problem, deep trouble, utterly disappointed. So look at the pattern. And this is something called speaking English using collocation. And believe me, my friends, if you're not using collocation, your English will not be natural. I've already informed you, if you want to speak English naturally, you have to use a lot of collocation. And yesterday, we all explained. I request everybody to mute it, please. So this is something called a natural combination. So I kali gote verb neithile. There was a verb. What was that verb? Something called make verb. Okay. In make verb itself, I explained you. Like, I'm making mistake, not I'm doing mistake. I'm making a huge mistake. Okay, you can say. Or you can say, like, there are quite a lot of examples are there like this. I can give you. But upon the way you guys are speaking English, I request everyone, Rajesh sir, please mute it. Okay. So what is more important? Whenever you don't want to speak, please mute it. And whenever you want to speak something, you can unmute and speak. Okay. So what is more important? Just take it out. And this is something called collocation. ଦେଖୁଛନ୍ତି ଦିଟା ଜିନିଷ କେମିତି ଦିଟା words କେମିତି natural way ରେ combine ହଉଛି, and that is something called speaking English naturally. ଆମେ ସମସ୍ତେ କଣ କରୁଛେ, most of the time ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ବହୁତ ଭୀଷଣ ଭାବରେ angry ଅଛନ୍ତି, like you can say is very angry. No, he is terribly angry or terribly upset. So like a terribly word with upset or angry is called the natural combination, and exactly I want to focus on that. And I also, you guys should focus on it. And that's very important. Unless until you are not using like this, sometimes you say, it's very popular. Look, that's called ordinary English. The moment you say, suppose you say, Amitabh Bachchan is very popular in India. Instead of saying like this, if you say he's hugely popular, so it makes sense to you. That means it is called speaking English naturally. So collocation is the best way to speak English naturally. Are you getting my point, everybody? Yes or no? Clear? ଆପଣ ମାନେ ବୁଝି ପାରୁଛନ୍ତି? Because you most of the people have attended my class, like no, you attended my class yesterday, and that's very important. Unless until you know something about collocation, ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ, collocation is something called something, speaking English naturally, so it will take some time. କାହିଁକି ନା ଆପଣ ଦେଖୁଛନ୍ତି hugely popular, so you have to bring that huge watch. Okay. So what I exactly want to tell you, sometimes it is also very difficult to, get all the words in a natural way. So you have to develop it, because English is a skill, or spoken English is a skill, and you have to master it through constant practice. It requires a lot of practice, my friends. It doesn't require, look, if you can say like that, I'm in big trouble, but it looks okay, ମୁଁ ବହୁତ ବଡ ଅସୁବିଧାରେ ଅଛି, like ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ତାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛନ୍ତି ଇଂଲିଶ କହିବା ପାଇଁ, most of the time you can say also big trouble, big trouble. Okay. But let me tell you, which is absolutely wrong. There is nothing called big trouble in English. There is nothing called big trouble in English. It is called deep trouble. Okay. So that is, so what is more important, I am facing, or I am in deep trouble, that is completely called natural English. But whenever you want to learn something called big trouble, it is not natural. That is completely something called the translation process. You are trying to do a lot of translation. ମୁଁ already କହିଦେଇଛି. Yesterday also we discussed a lot regarding translation process is a craft to speak English. And a lot of people say that you have to learn it, like no, you have to do a lot of translation. But let me tell you, translation process is completely a craft. You cannot speak English naturally whenever it comes to, a spoken English. Spoken English is completely, a different subject altogether. It requires a lot of things. Got it? So what is more important? So take a screenshot of this, because I want to tell you something else. Okay. If you're okay with that, because this is called the natural combination. You cannot change it. କାଲି ମୁଁ କହିଥିଲି, there is something called fast food. I don't want to explain it once more. There is something called fast food. You cannot say quick food. You cannot say it, because that is a natural combination. You say happy birthday, okay, happy birthday, happy new year, but you say Merry Christmas, because that is something called natural combination. Natural combination means the way the native speaker, the people of America and the people of Britain use English, because that is the mother tongue. It's not ours. So that's why you have to use like this. And this is something called the natural way of speaking English. Okay. So take a screenshot of this one. I want to show you something else. Everybody, please. So we taken a screenshot. I don't have any problems. Let me go to the next section. Okay.
Sir,
So,
your video quality is so poor, sir.
Yes, sir.
Video quality is so poor, sir. सही से मैंने देखा था actually. Later,
who is facing the problem? Who is facing the problem, sir, regarding video quality? Everybody is facing the problem, or any problems with anybody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Video quality एकदम okay.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm talking about. Are you? Everybody is a problem, or something called it's a problem for somebody? A few guys.
Sir, word गुड़ा माने clear दिसुनी किसी.
It's not clear to everybody?
Yes, sir. Not
Yes, sir.
visible.
Clear, sir.
It's clear or it's not clear?
Clear.
Clear? I'm not. Bibu sir, what is the problem you are facing? Kiran, my mom, Kiran, mom, are you facing any problem? You connecting from Delhi? I am from Puri. Okay. Dev sir, Subhasini
Sir,
ma'am,
clear,
Joyant ma'am, everybody.
clear, sir.
Ramnath sir.
Sir,
ସେ
clear.
ଭିଡିଓ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ହଉଛି
Clear, sir.
କଥା ବି ଟିକେ ଅଟକୁଛି
No. I want to listen. I am broadcasting this particular thing with my own intent, so I don't face any problem here. ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହୁଛି ଆପଣ ଯୋଉ ଏରିଆରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି, maybe the network speed is down, so it is a problem, or everybody is facing the same issue. If it is a problem for everybody, so there is a problem with my system. If a few guys are facing problems, I believe the problem with the network, the experiencing the low quality network, the where exactly you are, because this is the peak time. Most of the time you are busy. So, Bibu sir, what is the problem? Are you facing any problem or it's okay?
ନାଇଁ ସାର୍ ନା ଭିଡିଓ ଆର ସାର୍ କ୍ଲିୟର ସାର୍ ଭିଡିଓ କ୍ଲିୟର ଅଛି
Video clear? I don't understand.
କ୍ଲିୟର ଅଛି ସାର୍
Clear? Okay.
But the writing is not showing, sir. Right?
Okay, fine. So let me, Prahlad sir, are you facing any problem, sir? Prahlad sir.
थोड़ा ये वीडियो प्रॉब्लम सर
Video problem also. Okay, fine. Kiran ma'am, are you facing any problems or are you able to check it out correctly? I think ma'am is not. Okay. Anyway, so let me bring that screen before you. Now this is visible to everybody. Yes or no? Clear? This is clear to everybody.
yes sir
Yes,
clear
sir.
Yes, sir.
yes sir very clear
Okay,
Yes,
so
yes,
that means there is a problem whenever I write something. Okay, fine, I got it. So let me yesterday these things we have already explained it. Okay, so let me take you the second. This is something called. Take it out. This is something called. Okay, collocation with do. This is called collocation with do. Okay, the first one is called do a favor. So whenever do a favor, please do me a favor. What do you mean by that? Try to understand. Whenever you say do me a favor, that means you want some help or you need some help. So in that particular situation, you can say do me a favor. Please help me. That's called it's not the natural English. Try to understand. Most of the time you say, please help me. Please help me. So but most of the official environment, whenever you're in a corporate environment, you can say, could you please do me a favor? Could you please do me a favor? So what do you mean by that? Whenever you say, could you do me a favor? I mean to say that you are facing some problem and you need help. So instead of saying help, please help me, you can say, please do me a favor. Could you please do me a favor? You are going to market? Yes. Just bring a kilo of rice for me. So like that. Or suppose we are working in the same company. Suppose Amnath sir and I are working in the same company. I can say, sir, could you please do me a favor? I say, yes, why not? Okay, could you please print this for me? So like that. So do a favor is something called help me. You need help in a particular situation. But whenever you say help me or help her out, that is something called, it's not natural English. That is something called the translated form. I mean, most of the time, I've already informed you, we are trying to do the translated form. But let me tell you, whenever it comes to something called, natural English, you have to use like this. ମୁଁ already ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହିଦେଇଛି, like a lot of things. I'm in deep trouble. I'm in deep trouble. That is something called. But most people say I'm big trouble. There is nothing called big trouble in English. It is called deep trouble. You say he's very disappointed. The moment you say very disappointed, that is called normal English. That is called not natural English. But I'm utterly disappointed here. I'm utterly upset. He's terribly angry. So like that. These are the words that use most of the time. ଆପଣ ଯେତେବେଳେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ସେ ଯାହା କହୁଛି ସତ୍ୟ କଥା କହୁଛି, perfect ସତ୍ୟ, 100% ସତ୍ୟ କଥା କହୁଛି. He's speaking the naked truth. And if somebody is telling lie, you can say it is blatant lie. I'm going to write for you. Don't worry. So these are the things, some things called pure English. ଆମେ ଯୋଉଟାକୁ natural ବୁଝୁଛନ୍ତି, that is, whenever I say natural, try to understand, these are the words that mostly that American and British people use. That's all. but ସେମାନେ translation କରନ୍ତିନି ଆପଣ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି because that is our mother tongue. But whenever you and I try to speak English, we focus on our translation process. ମୁଁ କାଲି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହିଦେଇଛି. So if you are focusing on translation process, you are trying to make lot of mistakes. You are trying to make lot of mistakes, not do, make mistakes. Okay. So like that, the first one is called do a favor. So whenever I say do a favor, what do you mean by that? I mean to say that please help me or I need help. So instead of saying or instead of requesting somebody help, you can say, could you please do me a favor? Could you please do her a favor? Like that. So do a favor. That is something called, something called the natural English. And the second one, do research. Just like I'm doing research in microbiology. I'm doing research in physics. I'm doing research on linguistics. Like, so do research is called something called the actual collocation or the natural combination of two different words. And something called do damage. What is called do damage? Sometimes we say he did a lot of damage to my reputation. So whenever you say do damage, that means bring bad name. That is called do damage. Most of the time we don't use like this. Suppose your brother is a drunkard. For example, don't take it personally. Suppose your brother is a drunkard, and because of him, you are seeing a lot of problems in the market. People are trying to say a lot of things about your family. So you can say, because of his action or your action did a lot of damage to the reputation of our family. So like that. So what exactly I want to tell you, my friends? So do damage is something called the natural way of trying to speak English in different situations. So let me give the next example. Do business. What you are doing? You can say I'm a businessman or I'm doing business. Okay. I'm doing business in textile. I'm doing business in any kind of business you're doing. So doing business is called the right collocation. Okay. The sixth one, that also sometimes you are not using it properly. So that is called do laundry. So do laundry means sometimes what you feel that you're washing, right? We say, I'm washing something. Don't say, I'm washing. You say, how the people of America and Britain say, I'm doing laundry. I'm doing laundry means, suppose you have some dirty clothes and you are trying to soak it into the bucket of water. Some soda and other things will be there. You are trying to soak it and trying to wash it. And washing dresses is something called done, not the natural English. That is something called doing laundry. If I'm going to call anybody, suppose I'm going to call Prahlad sir. Sir, it's the right time to speak to you. Sir, I'm doing laundry. So what do you mean by doing laundry? Whenever I say doing laundry, you mean to say that you are washing your dirty dresses. So that is called doing laundry. Okay. And doing chores, that's pretty important also. Most people don't use it also. Suppose you are at home and whenever before you are coming out of your house or coming out of the home, you do a lot of homework. ଆପଣ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡେ କାମ କରନ୍ତି ନିଜର, like you groom yourself, you take a shower, or you can say you take breakfast, sometimes you save yourself, like a lot of things happens, like, so that is called doing chores. ତାମାନେ ପ୍ରତିଦିନ ଆପଣ ଅଫିସ ଯିବା ପୂର୍ବରୁ, whenever you are venturing outside, so before that you do a lot of work for yourself, that you groom yourself properly. So that is something called do chores. If I'll ask you, sir, are you busy right now? Yes sir, I'm getting late, I'm doing my chores. That means you are getting ready. You are trying to get ready for yourself. Like, whatever the things you require, you have to take breakfast, you have to take a shower, you have to brush your teeth, all the things. So whenever that is called chores. So I'm doing my chores. Okay. And doing the dishes, that most people never use also that. Doing dishes means you are trying to clean. Like, after eating, you take a, something called any kind of thing and you are trying to eat it. After that, you wash it. That is something called doing dishes. So doing dishes, doing chores, doing laundry, do business, do damage, do research, and do a favor. At least 5 to 6 things you can use it every day. And that is something called natural English. That is completely called natural English. How exactly the people of America and the people of Britain use like this. Okay. So does it make any sense to you, everybody? Are you getting my point, or do you need an explanation? Everybody, please.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Everybody?
Sir.
Yes. If you're not, you have any problems, you're facing any problems, please
Sir.
ask me a question. Yes, sir, please.
सर दूर लगेगी सर ये 5-6टी
No, sir, let me tell you.
ना अदर अच्छी सर
The answer is, sir, if you'll ask me pointedly, like a pansada jinsh achi. Yesterday, if I just take this one, forget about this one. Eta mu apanku deythili, right? This sheet also I have given to you. But let me tell you, sir. Look, these are the few things I want you to be acquainted with. Apanku acquaint karibar
Okay.
mate. Okay. It's not like that. Once you learn something, then you can also add some list once you use it. But initially, apanku to mate acquaint karibar achi collocation kon. को word से तो को word ର combination होଉଛି. So that is more important. So I mean to say that, sir, most of the time, if I say collocation, I don't want to give an example. You can take it all the same examples because the list is endless. If you ask me that only the 5 or 7 words, no, it's not like that. There are even 1000 things you can use it. But let me tell you, these are the things that you use almost every day. ଆପଣ ଏଟା ପ୍ରତିଦିନ ବ୍ୟବହାର କରନ୍ତି like ଆପଣ laundry କରନ୍ତି like you wash your dishes and all my sisters like those who are ladies they also doing the dishes after eating the food we people come out but they do the dishes so that is called doing dishes. Okay, I'm doing business, my father is a businessman or I'm doing business, can you do me a favor, like making suggestion, make a phone call, make a fortune, make money, make friends. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like yesterday, I explained you everything, right? So what is more important, try to understand. It hଉଛି ଆପଣଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ଶିଖିବାର ଗୋଟେ like there are few examples I have just put forward. So I'm just putting few examples so that you can easily understand. So ଏଇଟାକୁ କେମିତି use ହଉଛି because we ultimately we have to speak English naturally. ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଗୋଟିଏ ପ୍ରଥମରୁ କହୁଛି like whatever the English you are trying to speak right now, that is something called the translated version of English. That is completely translated version. Upon most of the time use very, most of the time I tell you, most of the time you are using very is an adverb. Upon sabu samar kohni he is very angry, he is very sad, he is very happy, he is very popular. So most of the time very becomes a very common word and you use it in almost everything. He is very sad, he is very happy, he is very angry, he is
sir
a very yes please.
sir make a fortune यार माने
Okay, make a fortune means ma'am perhaps you did not attend the class yesterday. So anyway, so make a fortune means in short span of time, अल्प समय मध्यरे, whenever you are trying to make a lot of profit, whenever you are trying to make a lot of money, that is called make a fortune. I mean to say that, for example, you can say that the structure will be like this, making a fortune out of something. You can say the Ambani, the Reliance industry is making a fortune out of your network. You can say, suppose your brother is a businessman. You can say, my brother is making a fortune or has made a fortune out of this business. So make a fortune means make huge profit within short span of time. Sometimes you can find it, a lot of people hit the jackpot. Hit the jackpot means own a lottery. Okay. Suppose upon within let it be you got you own a lottery. So lottery upon own karigala pore, I can say that you made a fortune out of this lottery. So that means you become very rich overnight. So that is called very short span of time. It doesn't require that much of time. बहुत अल्प दिन भितर जदि आपण अनेक गुडे इनकम करदेले or you are earning a lot, then you can say make a fortune. Now it make any sense to you? Now it's clear? Yes or no?
yes sir, yes sir.
Okay. So so that's why what exactly I want to tell you to everybody. Dekantu, collocation is a very tricky affair. It's not just like a bed of project for everybody. କାହିଁକି ନା ଆପଣ ଆଗରୁ ଗୋଟେ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ୱେରେ ଅଲରେଡି ଆପଣଙ୍କ ମାଇଣ୍ଡ ଟା ନା ଆକ୍ୱେଣ୍ଟ ହେଇଯାଇଛି. ଫର ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ମୁଁ ଯଦି କହିବି ଯେ ଲାଇକ କିରଣ ମ୍ୟାମ କୁ ମ୍ୟାମ ହି ଇଜ ଅଟରଲି ଡିସଆପଏଣ୍ଟେଡ. So utterly what is utterly? I very disappointed. हाँ sir, it बढ़िया लगेला. But utterly disappointed. But somewhat you are not able to correlate the words. because that is not coming naturally to you, because you are not acquainted. You are acquainted with the process. That is very, that is prevalent. That is prevalent in Odisha. That is the translated version of English. Everybody, in fact, close to 95% people speak English using translation. And that is the biggest problem in our spoken English career. And that's why collocation comes. ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଆସ୍ତେ ଆସ୍ତେ changes କରୁଛି. I'm trying to change you slowly. It's not, just like, exponential growth will happen overnight. It's not going to happen. So let me tell you, ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କିଛି କିଛି ଜାଗାରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ changes କରିବା ପାଇଁ ମୁଁ କହୁଛି. ଆପଣ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ, ଆମେ ଯେମିତି କହୁଛେ, like, I am doing a mistake. ମୁଁ ଏଠି mistake କରୁଛି. କାଲି କହିଥିଲି. No, ଆପଣ କହିବେ ନା, sir, not doing mistake, I'm making a mistake. So that is called right collocation, a right word. କିନ୍ତୁ ଯଦି ଆମେ ସେମିତି କହିବା, that is, you are not natural. ମୁଁ already ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହିଦେଇଛି, it's not natural English, and this is called natural English. ଏବେ ଆମେ ଯାହା ବି ଆଲୋଚନା କରୁଛନ୍ତି, that is natural English. Most of them, I have heard it like that, I'm in big trouble. There is nothing called big trouble in English. There is something called, this is called, ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ, ଆପଣ କହୁନାହାନ୍ତି ସମୟ ସମୟ, ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ promise ର କିଛି value ନାହିଁ. So how can you say that in English? There is no value in your promise. This is not natural English, my friend. You make a hello promise to me. Hello promise. Hello. HALLOW. Hello. Promise. That means this promise doesn't bear any. So, I'm going to teach you a lot of things. ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମୁଁ କେବଳ ଗୋଟେ process ରେ acquaint କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହୁଁଛି. ତ ଆପଣ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ, actually some of the things like, you're supposed to do. ଏଇଟା ହଉଛି ଆମର natural collocation. Natural way ରେ English କହିବା ପାଇଁ collocation ର ଆବଶ୍ୟକତା ବହୁତ ଅଛି. The I can say the usage is very huge actually. It's tremendous. Impact is absolutely huge. Humongous. Right? So ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କଣ କରିବାର ଅଛି? You have to learn a little bit. Actually ଆମେ ଯୋଉ translated version of English trying to speak it, that is not natural. We have to say something natural English. So natural English କହିବା ପାଇଁ you have to learn collocation. କାଲି ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହୁଥିଲି what is more important, like English grammar is important or collocation is important. I already informed you grammar is less important as compared to collocation, but most people ignore it. Collocation टाକୁ ଆମେ completely, most people say also to me, sir ଆମେ କେବେ ଏମିତି ବ୍ୟବହାର କରୁନୁ. Okay, but if you go anywhere you can easily understand. Okay, so this is the second thing. So I have explained it. So right now let me take another yes.
Actually, I have one question.
Yeah, please.
इस screen में अपन जोटे कहथिले I am doing my chores. Actually, दुईटा अपन pronounce करथिले I am doing chores. आ गोटे रहला I am doing my chores. दुईटा भीतर कोटा suitable रहइबो?
It's better you can say I'm doing my chores, because you are trying to you're doing her chores. I'm doing my chores, doing his chores, like that. So you want to be very specific. You can say I'm doing my chores. Please wait outside. Suppose you are my senior officer, ma'am. So I'm trying to call you in the morning itself around 7 o'clock. I do have some work with you. So, ma'am, good morning. Is it the right time to have a discussion something with you? Or you can say me, okay, fine. I may call you or do one thing. That I'm trying to complete my, or I'm doing my chores, or I'm trying to complete my chores. Please wait outside, or just wait for some more time. I'm going to call you. So look, do chores is something called the collocation. In between, you can use some other words like mine or all the things. That is called possessiveness. It doesn't give any different meaning to the ultimate something called the meaning of this sentence. So upon meaning କିଛି change ହବନି. Like, suppose I can say I'm doing my chores, you are doing your chores. Everybody is busy doing their chores, like all the things, right? So this is, it doesn't make any problems whenever trying to use my word, because sometimes a father, my father. So I want to very specific. So fathers are always industrious creatures in the world, but my father is highly industrious. I can, so like that. So it is something called, we are trying to give emphasis to your own. So ସେଥିରେ କିଛି problem କିଛି ହବନି. So I think sir, two sheets are very clear to everybody. Yes or no? ଆପଣ ବୁଝି ପାରୁଛନ୍ତି?
Yes, sir. Sir,
So
one
right
more
now,
question. Sir,
yeah,
one more
please.
question, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, ଆମେ ଯେମିତି sir make ରେ sir V1 V2 V3 use କରି ପାରୁଛେ, do ରେ ବି ସେମିତି V1 V2
Absolutely. ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଏଠି ମୁଁ କଣ କହିଲି, do verb ସହିତ ଏଇ word ଟା ଯିବ. तो जदि आपण प्रेजेंट पास्ट एंड फ्यूचर टाइम रे कहउछंती केमती कहबे फॉर एग्जांपल आपण कहबे जे मु काली 6 रे मते मो काम सारिवार अछि आई विल हैव टू do my chores at 6 a.m. morning tomorrow. You can say. So I did my chores or I have done my chores.
Sir,
ଆମେ କହୁନାହାନ୍ତି
I have done my work.
look
ଏମିତି ତ
ଆପଣ ସେ ଯୋଉ
କହିଲେ।
ୱାର୍କ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଆପଣ କହିଲେ ୱାର୍କଟା ସେଇଟା ତ ଆମର ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ହଉଛି ବୋଲି ଆପଣ କୋଉ ଚେଞ୍ଜେସ କରନ୍ତୁ
ଆମେ
Yes,
ସାର୍ କୋଉ
yes, sir.
ସିଚୁଏସନ ରେ ସାର୍
मतलब
ଆମେ ୟୁଜ
collocation.
କରିପାରିବୁ
ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ
ଏଇଟା ଟିକେ
ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ
ସାର୍
ଆପଣ
କୋଲେକସନ
ଯେତେବେଳେ
ଟାକୁ ସାର୍ ଗୋଟେ
yes yes
ସିଚୁଏସନ
I am going to give you the situation ଆପଣ ଯେତେବେଳେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ମୋ ନିତ୍ୟକର୍ମ ମୁଁ ସାରି ସାଇଲେଣି ଆପଣ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହିବି ସପୋଜ we have gone for a tour ତ ମୁଁ କହିବି ସାର୍ ଆପଣ ନିତ୍ୟକର୍ମ ସାରି ସାରିଲେଣି ଆପଣ କହିବେ yes sir I have done it so what do you mean by that ସେ ନିତ୍ୟକର୍ମ ମାନେ କଣ ଆପଣ ଅଫିସ ଯିବା ପୂର୍ବରୁ ବା କିଛି ବାହାରକୁ କୌଣସି ଗୋଟେ କାମରେ ବାହାରିବା ପୂର୍ବରୁ you purify yourself starting from brushing your teeth taking bath a lot of things you do so taking breakfast taking tea all the things that you do so that is called chores so chores is a combination of grooming yourself ଆପଣ ଆଉ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ଆପଣ ଯୋଉ କହିଲେ ଯେ କ୍ରିଷ୍ଣା ମ୍ୟାମ ଆପଣ କହୁଥିଲେ ଆମେ ୱାର୍କ କହିବା ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ୱାର୍କ ତ ଆପଣ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସଲେସନ କରିକି ସେଇଟା ତ ମୁଁ ମନା କଲି ଆପଣ ୟୁଜ କରନ୍ତୁନି
Yes,
ଆପଣ
yes,
କହିବେ
sir.
I have completed my work so whenever you say I have completed my work এটা ନ୍ୟାଚୁରାଲ ହେଲାନି ଆମେ ଏବେ କଣ ପଢୁଛନ୍ତି you
ଚୋର୍ସ
are trying
ସାର୍
to
ଚୋର୍ସ
speaking
ଭିତରେ ସବୁ କାମ ପଳେଇ ଯାଉଛି ଚୋର୍ସ ୱାର୍ଡ ରେ ସବୁ
ଗୋଟେ
ଜିନିଷ
ୱାର୍ଡ
ପଳେଇ
ସାର୍ ଆପଣ ଓଡିଆରେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ମୁଁ ନିତ୍ୟକର୍ମ ସାରି ସାରିଲେଣି ନିତ୍ୟକର୍ମ ମାନେ କଣ ଆପଣ କଣ ସାର୍ ବୁଝନ୍ତି ମାନେ ଏଭ୍ରିଥିଙ୍ଗ
ଏଭ୍ରିଥିଙ୍ଗ
that everything you do ଆପଣ କହିବେ ଫର ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ଆପଣ ଆଜି it is Sunday today not today is Sunday it is Sunday today କହିଥିଲି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ again I have to tell you so it is Sunday today ଆଜି ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଅଫିସ ବନ୍ଦ ଅଛି ସମସ୍ତେ ତ ଆପଣ ଟିକେ ବାହାରେ ବୁଲୁଛନ୍ତି ମୁଁ କହିବି କଣ ସାର୍ ଏମିତି ବୁଲୁଛନ୍ତି ଆଜି ସଣ୍ଡେ ବୋଧେ ଅଛି ଯିବେନି ନିତ୍ୟକର୍ମ ସାରି ସାରିଲେଣି yes I have completed my course I have done my course like that you can say so what is more important ତ କିଛି କିଛି ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକରେ ମୁଁ ଚାହୁଁଛି ଆପଣ ଟିକେ ନ୍ୟାଚୁରାଲ ୱେରେ ଇଂଲିଶ କୁହନ୍ତୁ that is something called appears absolutely natural English ହେଲେ ହିଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଇଂଲିଶ ଟା ପରଫେକ୍ଟ ହବ that's more important ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ let me bring another let's try to examine the sentence
Actually, sir, ଏଠି ଏ ସବୁ ଯୋଉ ୱାର୍ଡ ରହିଲା ଏଟା noun ରେ ଯିବ ୟା verb ରେ ଯିବ
ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ do ଟା ହଉଛି ଗୋଟେ do ଟା is something called a verb and all the
The.
things I have written out I mean do a favor that's called noun that I am
Okay.
going to teach you this is called do is a verb and something called a favor research damage business laundry chores dishes these are called noun so this is called verb plus noun this is called verb plus noun ଆଉ ମୁଁ ଯୋଉଟା ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖଉଥିଲି ଏଇଟା ହଉଛି something called adjective plus adverb adjective plus adverb ଆମେ ଆଉ କିଛି କିଛି ଜାଗାରେ ଦେଖିବା ଯେ actually adjective ସହିତ ମାନେ noun ର ବି ଥିବ ତ ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ଏଠି ତ combination ତ ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ବହୁତ ଜାଗାରେ ଯେହେତୁ you guys are using every day ତ ଏଇଟା ଆମର in the context your particular understanding ଯଦି ମତେ ଆପଣ ପଚାରିବେ ତାହେଲେ ଏଇଟା ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ବ୍ୟବହାର କଲେ ଏଇଟା କେମିତି ବ୍ୟବହାର କଲେ that is something called ଆମେ ଏଇଟାକୁ ବ୍ୟବହାର କଲେ using this is called verb plus noun collocation verb plus noun collocation ଏଇଟା ବି ଆପଣଙ୍କର verb plus noun collocation ଥିଲା ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ mistake is a noun suggestion phone call urgent money progress promise friends and sense these are called noun so verb plus noun because ଆପଣ ଯୋଉ word ଏଟା ବହୁତ ଆମେ କହିନ୍ତି ନା ମତେ ଗୋଟେ suggestion ଦିଅ give me a suggestion so sometimes that is wrong you can say make me a suggestion like that and ଟିକେ attention ଦିଅ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ give attention no that is called pay attention okay so let me bring another tip for you check it out let's take the following sentences the doctor advised him to take regular exercise अच्छा ଆପଣ ରେଗୁଲାର ଜାଗାରେ ଆପଣ ଡେଲି ଲେଖିପାରନ୍ତି ତ ଡେଲି ଲେଖିଲେ ଡେଲି ଏକ୍ସରସାଇଜ नो दैट्स नॉट न्याचुरल रेगुलर एक्सरसाइज दैट्स द राइट वर्ड ଆପଣ ଯଦି କହିବେ ସାର୍ ମୁଁ ଡକ୍ଟର ଆଡଭାଇସ୍ ମି ଟୁ ଟେକ୍ ଡେଲି ଏକ୍ସରସାଇଜ दैट्स नॉट न्याचुरल द सेंटेंस विल गो फॉर ए टॉस इट विल बी रॉन्ग बिकॉज दैट इज नॉट exercise is the regular exercise is the noun ma'am exercise the noun and ତା ପୂର୍ବରୁ regular is something called the adjective ମୁଁ ଏବେ କହୁଥିଲି adjective ସହିତ ମାନେ एक्सरसाइज सहित रेगुलर होची कॉम्बिनेशन देन आपण कहबे सर एते जिंस आपण जानुचंती कि मु जानिबी केमती यू हैव टू डू अ लॉट ऑफ प्रैक्टिस विथ मी nothing to worry ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ 1000 lessons ଅଛି you have the patience I'll send all the lessons to you whenever you know free time you can do or you can I'll also do how exactly it is being calculated तो ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଗୋଟେ ଦିଟା ପାଞ୍ଚଟା 10ଟା କରିକି ଦେଖେଇଦେବି the rest things you have to complete by yourself and by end of the session I'm sure you will be completely natural speaker देखो most people say that I am doing regular exercise but most people I'm daily exercise daily exercise is wrong actually अपन करबे कोन पई wrong था daily माने तो regular खाली मु कहितली fast food speed post अपन कोन fast post बोली fast माने जा speed माने छे are you getting my point so that's very important so that is called regular exercise look at the thing he committed suicide गोटे लोक जदि मृत्युवरण करुच्ची सुइसाइड करिकी आमे ताऊ कहबा he did suicide wrong committed suicide the word committed he committed a mistake he committed suicide that is called the actual combination okay I have highlighted it let's give him a round of applause so whenever when somebody somebody claps him so that is called let's give him a round of applause for his stupendous achievement kon देखिथिबे এই এটাক আনাউন্স করନ୍ତି ସମସ୍ତେ স্টেজ ଉପରେ ফর एग्जांपल কৃষ্ণ ম্যাম हुंतु रामनाथ सर हुंतु किरणमयी ମ୍ୟାମ हुंतु लाइक आपन ଯଦି प्राइज मिलुची so I am trying to boost your confidence by telling let's give him a round of applause this is called give him a round of applause this is called round of applause okay this is called round of applause right so आपन को please clap your hand it doesn't have any that of it this is not standing ovation this is called round of applause whenever you sit stand whatever you do you are trying to clap for somebody whenever he achieves something that is called round of applause let's have a give a round of applause to that guy that means you are trying to clap for him
Give me a round of applause.
okay Mary whispered softly in John's ear Mary whispered so whenever I say whispered softly not slowly देखंतु whisper slowly जदि आपण कहबे that will be not natural whisper slowly suppose you are trying to whisper something you are trying to say something slowly in somebody's ear you can say he whispered softly so soft word ta kaha से जिवो with whisper से जिवो आपण कहबे सर slowly कहले हबनी that's wrong and you have to accept and you must pay attention not give attention मु कि समय आगुरु कहउतली आपण माने समस्त ध्यान दियंतु most people say please give attention दियो तो आपण डायरेक्ट ओडिया रु इंग्लिश जो करिवार जो गोटे प्रवृत्ति आपण को देह रहि जाई माइंड रे मानसिकता रहि जाई just destroy that fear then only you can speak English naturally जदि आपण सेही माइंड सेट रहिबे you cannot speak English मु आपण कहि देई you have to speak English naturally there is something called natural English try to understand everybody in fact who is before me right now आपण को natural English कहिबार अछि you all have to speak natural English आपण जोटा इंग्लिश कहउछंती that is something called the translated version of English आपण किछि ओडिया रे भाबुछंती you are trying to translate it you are trying to speak it so translation आपण गोटे की दीटा वर्ड जणा अछि दब्बा माने गिफ्ट गोटे वर्ड आपण जानले तो मते से रेस्पेक्ट देला he give me respect no he paid respect to me आपण जानछंती फॉर एग्जांपल धरंतु आपण मते रेस्पेक्ट दउछंती so how exactly I can speak all my students or all my learners are paying respect to me not giving respect paying respect so paying attention so tomorrow we are going to learn something called pay that is the verb and what are the things required like collocation तो सहित को attention आपण को माने collocation को word रहइबो so that is something called very important और आपनकर जो से जो जिनसटा म कहितिल ऑलरेडी नाही यू आर ट्राइंग टू डू लॉट ऑफ ट्रांसलेट सब जिनसटा अपन ट्रांसलेशन करंती एंड दैट्स समथिंग कॉल्ड इट्स नॉट द नेचुरल वे एंड अपन जो कोन से नेचुरल केमती हबो हाउ एग्जैक्टली यू आर ट्राइंग टू स्पीक इंग्लिश नेचुरल इंग्लिश हबोनी सर इफ यू ट्राइंग टू ट्रांसलेट एवरीथिंग then it is not going to help you out it is going to create a lot of problems for you so are you getting my point everybody yes or no अपन बुझी परछंती Everybody please.
Yes, yes, sir.
That's very important. ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ମୋର ଗୋଟେ ଉଦ୍ଦେଶ୍ୟ ହଉଛି କଣ, ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ କାଲି ଠାରୁ collocation, ଏଟା ସେକେଣ୍ଡ କ୍ଲାସ, ମୁଁ ପ୍ରଥମରୁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହୁଛି collocation ଟା ଆମକୁ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ କରେଇବ, ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ବି ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ କରଉଛି। କାହିଁକି? ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ନ୍ୟାଚୁରାଲ ଇଂଲିଶ କହିବା, what is natural English, ଆପଣ ଯୋଉ ଜିନିଷଟା କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଇଂଲିଶ କହୁଛନ୍ତି, that is called the translated version, that is not natural English. How many of you are using like this? I am utterly disappointed. ଆପଣ କହୁଛନ୍ତି very disappointed, ସବୁ ଜାଗାରେ ଆପଣ very, I am terribly upset. How many of you are telling he's terribly angry? How many of you are trying to say you are telling very angry? So very angry is called ordinary English, translated. ସେ ଅତିଶୟ ମାତ୍ରାରେ ରାଗି ଅଛନ୍ତି, ବେଶୀ ରାଗି ଯିବା ମାନେ very, ବାସ୍ very ହେଇଗଲା, ଗୋଟେ ଆପଣ ଲଗେଇ ଚାଲିଲେ very 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 very, but ସେ
Sir,
ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ
this is the right method. This is right method, sir.
that's what, sir. So you have to understand that each and everything is required to speak English naturally. It is natural, sir, English ଅଛି, not everything is translated. ଆମେ ସବୁ ଜିନିଷକୁ translation କରି କହିବା, then what is the need of the platform? ଆମେ କଣ ପାଇଁ ପ୍ଲାଟଫର୍ମ ରେ ଜଏନ୍ କରିବା? We can speak anything. ଆପଣ ତ ଆରାମ ସେ translation କରିପାରୁଛନ୍ତି. So that is not the right way. And believe me, my friend, if you are trying to speak English the same way, I am sure you are nowhere in the world. And that's why whenever trying to ଆପଣ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଶୁଣୁଛନ୍ତି ଗୋଟେ ଫରେନର କହୁଛି, ବା ଆପଣ whenever trying to learn something else, ସେଥିରେ ଆପଣ ଦେଖୁଛନ୍ତି very unnatural process ରେ English ହଉଛି. Why? Because of the fact that you don't know how exactly you are trying to speak. ସେଇଟା ହଉଛି problem. That is problem for everybody. And that's why ଏ ଯୋଉ collocation ଆମେ start କରିଛନ୍ତି, I'll take one more, at least 3 to 4 classes I'll take, then we'll go for a practice of collocation. So before that, I believe, look at the thing, he committed a suicide. ସେ କାଲି suicide କରିଦେଲା, ଆପଣ କେମିତି କହିଥାନ୍ତେ he did the suicide? ଆପଣ did ଲଗେଇଥାନ୍ତେ, କରିଦବା, executed, ଆପଣ ପାଟିରେ ଯାହା ଲାଗିଲା ଆପଣ କହିଦେଇଥାନ୍ତେ, because you are looking for a word. But let me tell you, my friend, he committed suicide. He committed suicide. And that's the right one. My friend committed suicide last month. Like that I can say. So committed. That is the regular exercise. There's nothing called daily exercise. ଆପଣ ସମସ୍ତେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି daily exercise କଲେ ହେଇଯିବ. That is called regular, not daily exercise. ଯଦି କହିବେ daily ଟା ତ ଚଳିବ, ଏଇଟା ସେଇଟା ତ problem ଆମର ହଉଛି. That's the only problem. Most of the time, we are trying to do the translated from, trying to say or trying to speak the translated version of English. And that is why we are going miserably wrong. Okay. So this is the thing I ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଆଉଥରେ କହିଦେବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହେଁ. Our entire focus is on how exactly you can speak natural English. The fourth one, ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ error free English ହେଇଯିବ automatic. This is called error free English. And error free English କହିଲା ପରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର confidence ବଢିଯିବ. And confidence ବଢିଲା ପରେ ଆପଣ you can speak it very fluently. And there is something called natural English. Natural English ରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ 5ଟା ଜିନିଷ ବ୍ୟବହାର କରିବାର ଅଛି. idioms ବ୍ୟବହାର କରିବେ, ଯୋଉଟା ପଢେଇବି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ, binomials ବ୍ୟବହାର କରିବେ, expression ବ୍ୟବହାର କରିବେ, collocation and phrasal verbs. And in a conversation we don't use phrasal verbs most of the time. We say it's okay. But let me tell you, my friend, if you want to speak English naturally, these 5 things are required. Okay. So any further questions for today before I wind up the session for you? ଆପଣ ବୁଝିପାଇଲେ everybody? Yes or no? ନା କିଛି problem
Yes, sir.
ଅଛି? Tell me.
ନା ସାର୍
No,
ବୁଝିପାରୁଛୁ
sir.
ସାର୍?
Yes, sir.
ସାର୍ ଆମେ
Everybody, please.
ବୁଝିପାରୁଛୁ, ହଁ ବୁଝିପାରୁଛୁ, କିନ୍ତୁ କେତେ ଗୁଡିଏ ଜିନିଷ ସାର୍ ଆମେ ୟୁଜ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ସାର୍ ସଫିସିଏଣ୍ଟ ସମୟ ମିଳୁନି ବା ପ୍ଲେସ୍ ମିଳୁନି। କାହିଁକିନା ସାର୍ ଆମେ ବଡ ଦେଖୁଛୁ ସାର୍ ଯୋଉଟା ଭାଷଣ ଦେଲେ ପ୍ଲିଜ କ୍ଲାପ୍ ଟୁ ୟୋର ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ, ସମସ୍ତେ ସାର୍ ଏଇ ୱାର୍ଡ ଟାକୁ ୟୁଜ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମେ ଆପଣଙ୍କଠୁ ଶିଖୁଛୁ ସାର୍ ନ୍ୟାଚୁରାଲ ୱେରେ କଲୋକେସନ ଟାକୁ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମେ ୟୁଜ
ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ,
କରିବାକୁ।
ଆପଣ ଯଦି କୌଣସି ଓଡିଶା ପ୍ଲାଟଫର୍ମ ରେ କେବେ ଆଟେଣ୍ଡ କରିଛନ୍ତି, ସେମାନେ କେବେ କ୍ଲାପ୍ ଦ ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ ପ୍ଲିଜ। କିନ୍ତୁ ଯଦି ଆପଣ କୌଣସି ଗୋଟେ ବେସିକାଲି ଏମିତି ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ଲାଟଫର୍ମ ରେ ଜଏନ କରିଥିବେ, ଲାଇକ नो ଆମେ କହିବା ଯେ କୌଣସି ଗୋଟେ ନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ନ୍ୟୁଜ ରେ ଟେଲିଭିଜନ ରେ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟକ୍ରମ ଚାଲିଥିବ, ଲେଟ୍ସ ହାଭ୍ ଏ ରାଉଣ୍ଡ ଅଫ୍ applause for it, give a round of applause. ଏଟା ନ୍ୟାଚୁରାଲ, ମୁଁ ବହୁତ ଜାଗାରେ ଶୁଣିଛି ସାର୍। ଲାଇକ ଆପଣ ଛୋଟିଆ ଗୋଟେ କମେଡି ଶୋ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ବା ଏନି ଫିଲ୍ମ ଫେୟାର ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ, they're going to say because that is called natural English. କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମେ ଏଠି କଣ ଆମେ ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସଲେସନ କରିକି ଆମେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଇଂଲିଶ ଆମେ କହିଦେଲୁ, so how it is possible? Not possible. So ସବୁ ଜିନିଷଟାକୁ ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସଲେଟେଡ କରିକି ଆମେ, that's why you are not successful. ଆପଣ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ଏଥିରେ କିଛି ନେଗେଟିଭ ନବାର ନାହିଁ, कि I have no grudge against you, neither you have any grudge against anybody. तो एठी कोन होउची आमे गोटे नेचुरल टेंडेंसी रे इंग्लिश काहे कहि परना आपण निजे कहउचंती ना सर मो नेचुरल इंग्लिश होउनी केमती हबो जो इंग्रेडिएंट्स दरकार है जदि सेडा करी न पड़ला करी विल नॉट बी डिलीशियस तो सेमती इंग्रेडिएंट्स नाही हम पाखरे आमे कहबा आमे केमती फ्लुएंटली कहबा नेचुरली कहबा अन्य माने जेमती
Correct.
कहउछन कहबा दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम आपण बुझंतु ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड यस सर प्रहलाद सर so that's the problem देखंतु मु आपन को एबे भी कहउची we have enough time अपन टिके प्लीज फॉलो मी at least for 3 months and I can assure you guys can speak English naturally that's for sure अपन देखिथिबे most of the time I use natural English because I don't follow any translated version I hate it मु जानी थी whenever I was मु अपन कहउतली about my story when I was in Kerala when I was working for a software firm so that time I come to know there is something called natural English which is absolutely different from the English I have learned in Odisha ओडिसा रे जो मु इंग्लिश सिखिथिली आ मु जते गोटे कॉर्पोरेट प्लेटफॉर्म रे ताक यूज कली देयर इज अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस एंड आई गॉट द फक ऑफ माय लाइफ द सेम डे तो सेति पे मु कहूची देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड नेचुरल इंग्लिश आर अछि इज देयर एवरी टाइम एंड दिस इज समथिंग कॉल्ड नेचुरल इंग्लिश आई हैव नेवर हर्ड लाइक दैट वी आर वेरी मच वेरी लगे कि हमर गोटे करिवा तो बहुत जोर रागी जाइछन इज वेरी एंग्री काहे कि वेरी लगेबे who told you to use very because our system taught us हमें कहू नांती तो ठीक है अपसेट अछन तो बहुत अपसेट अछन तो इज वेरी अपसेट तो काहे कि ना बहुत सहज रे वेरी वर्ड ता मिल जाउ हमु और प्रत्येक एडजेक्टिव पूर्व हमें से वेरीटा लगे दे हम जाउछन तेरी बट दैट्स नॉट नेचुरल ही इज hugely popular he is bitterly or utterly disappointed he is terribly angry don't go there भीषण भाव रागी जाइछन तो रागी जे पे टेरिबल एंग्री किंतु अपसेट अछंती अपन धरंतु अपन भीतर के अपसेट अछि माय फादर इज नो अटरली अपसेट टुडे सो लाइक दैट आई हैव टू से सो से तांको एरिया रे पूरा प्रख्यात हो जाइछन इज ह्यूजली पॉपुलर ह्यूजली द वर्ड ह्यूजली इज मोर इंपोर्टेंट राइट तो एटा अपन देखुचंती अपन देखुथिबे मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम अपन जो माने क्रिकेट देखुचंती लाइक आईपीएल रे I don't say it is a huge six. Okay, it is a towering six. I said towering loganti. Have you ever heard like that? Commented the man if you are looking at the games, it's okay. But if you are really looking at the actual commentator points of view, it is a towering six. It was a humongous six. Humongous. Humongous. There's a word basically Australian and this New Zealanders use humongous. That means it is a towering six. हमें कहते तांको पर्सनालिटी पूरा नंबर 1 पर्सनालिटी कहीं ना हमको जणा नहीं नंबर 1 हमें लगे दउछंती दैट इज कॉल्ड ही हैज अ टावरिंग पर्सनालिटी आपण कोन कार गोटे पर्सनालिटी को तारीफ करिया पे चाहउछन फॉर एग्जांपल मु कहबी जे किरणमयी मैम होंतु विभू सर होंतु रामनाथ सर होंतु गोटे नंबर 1 पर्सनालिटी हमें कोन हमें पाउ नांती वर्ड जानि नांती एक्चुअली and हमें कहउछ ना हम इंग्लिश कहि देले दीपक कहि हम इंग्लिश कहि देले नो ओ ही गॉट अ टावरिंग पर्सनालिटी towering personality so that is called natural English अपन जिते जहाँ भी लगेले हबनी परफेक्ट that is why you have to learn collocation if you want to speak English naturally so natural English कहया पे that is the best way you have to learn collocation and collocation is absolutely important okay everybody now it's clear to everybody and we are going to take the third class for tomorrow of collocation same things will continue for some more time because you get acquainted with okay now it's clear do you have any further questions before I can wind up this lesson for you
सर
yes please
सर
ask me
हमको कॉलोकेशन प्रोवाइड करन तो सर ताले हमको कॉलोकेशन प्रोवाइड करन तो हम पढ़ी कॉलोकेशन
collocation madam मु आपन किछि जिंस देई साला परे I will send you the question तो आपन को किछि जिंस मु दिया अगर let me give you some
Okay,
आपन को
ma'am.
एक्सप्लेन करे मु विदाउट एक्सप्लेनेशन रे जदी अधिक किछि देई देबे आपन बुझी परिबेनी so that's why let me give you some explanation any further question for today's class anybody ramnath sir vibhu sir
No, sir.
devjani ma'am
नो सर
No, sir.
isha ma'am mohan sir Rajesh sir, everybody, please, what before me right now? No? Okay. Rolla sir, are you there? Any further questions from your side? Okay, fine. So thank you all. Thank you all. See you guys tomorrow with a different class like I'm going to give you. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, sir.